What do you do when the person you hurt refuses to even acknowledge your existence? That's the question that has haunted me for weeks. My name is Isabel, I'm 32, and somehow I became that woman. The one who destroyed the most steady and loving part of her life for nothing more than a fleeting thrill. Now, I find myself lying awake in a cramped studio apartment with peeling paint, the silence pressing around me, tormented by memories I can't undo. It all began 6 years ago, the day I met Nathan. From the start, it felt effortless, like something magical had clicked into place. Within 8 months, we were living together. By our second year, we had purchased a small, charming home in a quiet suburb. People often said we looked like the perfect couple, and I believed it, because in many ways we were. Nathan was steady, thoughtful, dependable, the kind of man who knew exactly how I liked my coffee, who rubbed my tired feet after long days, who never mocked my guilty obsession with reality TV. With him, life felt secure. But over time, the spark began to fade. By our 4th year together, our days blurred into the same routine. Work, dinner, television, bed, repeat. The little surprises stopped. Spontaneous date nights disappeared. Passion gave way to comfort, and comfort slid into monotony. I noticed the distance growing. Nathan texted less during the day, came home later, and when he did, he barely looked at me. Instead of confronting him, really talking about it, I let myself be influenced by the wrong voices. "You're settling," Kira would whisper during girls' nights. "You're still young, Izzy. Don't waste your time being bored." Then there was Lana, a friend who treated marriage like something disposable. "If he's not making you feel wanted, someone else will," she said more than once. And then came Dylan. He was new at my office. Sharp suits, easy confidence, a grin that made me feel like I was the only person in the room. At first, it was just casual banter. Then came the texts. They started about projects, but shifted into late-night talks about music, childhood scars, weekend plans. He listened, he teased, he made me feel seen. I told myself it was harmless, but deep down I craved the attention. I missed feeling desired. The first kiss happened after a work happy hour. We were sitting in his car, music humming low, faces too close. I went home that night sick with guilt, but also more alive than I had felt in years. The guilt dulled quickly. Each drink, each stolen glance, each working late excuse made it easier to rationalize. Nathan was distracted, detached, blind. And then I crossed a line I can never uncross. Nathan had mentioned working late, so I used it as an opportunity. I invited Dylan into our house, into our bedroom, the same place where Nathan had once kissed my forehead and promised me forever. What happened wasn't love. It was selfishness. It was vanity disguised as passion, played out on wine-stained sheets under dim lighting. And some small, broken part of me wanted to be caught, as if Nathan discovering us would force him to fight for me. But he didn't fight. He walked away. That night, he came home earlier than I expected. Dylan was gone, but I was still scrambling to erase lipstick from glasses, fluffing pillows, pretending nothing had happened. When I greeted Nathan with a kiss, he recoiled. "How was work?" I asked lightly. "Fine," he answered flatly. One word. No warmth. He skipped dinner, avoided the couch beside me, and slept in the guest room. The next morning, he didn't look like my Nathan anymore. He stared into his coffee and said calmly, "I want to break up." Panic rushed through me. "What? Why?" "I just do. You need to move out by next week." That was it. No shouting, no tears, just silence, colder than anything I had ever known. I begged him to explain, but he shut me out. He stopped answering my calls, ignored my messages. Even our mutual friends distanced themselves. When I reached out to his sister, once one of my closest allies, she snapped, "Are you seriously asking what you did?" before hanging up. And that's when it hit me. He knew. Maybe he'd come home sooner than I thought. Maybe a neighbor saw Dylan's car, or maybe he simply felt the truth in his gut. Either way, Nathan knew. And worse, everyone else seemed to know, too. The last time I saw him was when he came to collect the rest of his belongings. I stayed, against his wishes, desperate for answers. "I saw you," he said, his voice flat. in our bed, with him. I tried to speak, but the words stuck in my throat. That wasn't a mistake, he continued. That was betrayal. I pleaded, offered apologies, suggested therapy. His eyes were hollow as he replied, "You didn't talk to me when you were unhappy. You just replaced me. And now I'm done." Then he walked out of my life. 6 years gone in a single breath, leaving me drowning in guilt, shame, and the crushing realization that I had destroyed the only man who ever truly loved me. Not Dylan, Nathan. Because even Dylan's name began to taste like poison. He kept reaching out, eager to turn us into something official, as if we were tragic lovers destined to be. I blocked him. Kira let me crash at her place for a few weeks, but even she recoiled when I admitted everything. "You brought him into your house?" she whispered. "Jesus, Izzy." Eventually, I moved into this tiny studio with its paper-thin walls and flickering lights. I found another job, one that paid less, where nobody knew my history. Meanwhile, Nathan thrived. I heard through a mutual friend that he'd been promoted and was seeing someone new. She's beautiful, kind, the type of woman who would cherish the man I so carelessly destroyed. Sometimes I still pick up my phone, tempted to message him, to apologize again, to ask if we could ever have another chance. But I stopped myself because he was right. He owes me nothing, not closure, not forgiveness. And I don't deserve it. I lost Nathan. I lost our home. I lost the future we were building. And for what? A hollow fantasy of being wanted by a man who never truly knew me. The worst part isn't the loneliness. It's knowing I chose this. I made this bed, and now I sleep in it alone.